answer interview questions. Most can be answered with storytelling. Why storytelling? Because it proves you have the skill and it validates your point. Imagine you are in an interview and the hiring manager asks you a question, do you have a specific skill? You know you do, so you answer with a very enthusiastic, well, yes, I do. How does that help the hiring manager know that you actually do have that skill? It doesn't. Here's an example of that.
So Dave, regarding this job, what do you think your greatest strength is?
My ability to think analytically and my problem-solving skills. So why does that answer not help the hiring manager? Well, the hiring manager needs to know something about your experience to really know you have that skill. Very briefly, what is a SOAR? The S stands for situation, the O stands for obstacle, the A stands for action, and the R stands for results. In short, you're telling a story with those pieces, the situation, the obstacle, the action, and the result. This is what I refer to as SOAR telling. It's pretty amazing that a bunch of facts, even very important facts, are seldom remembered. Let me give you an example. Have you been in history class? They tell you a bunch of facts. They tell you about wars, about specific events that has occurred. They tell you the date, who did what, when it happened, how it happened, and it's very hard to remember those dates. However, if that information was told in the form of a story, you tend to remember that. Your brain is wired to remember stories, not necessarily facts. So, when you're answering an interview question, if you could give them a SOAR story, then that interviewer will remember what you said. And most likely they can relate to that story. After I was hired, one particular hiring manager that I worked closely with told me that after the first question in our interview, she knew right there and then she wanted to hire me. And I said, well, why is that? She said, because the way you answered that question, I knew what you were talking about and that you weren't lying. And that's all because of the SOAR telling process. That gave her the information that she needed to make a decision about hiring me or not. And it was a yes. Well, you already saw a typical response to an interview question. I'm going to show you an example with the SOAR telling process. My greatest strength is my problem-solving abilities. I was working at ABC company. I was working on 9 different projects at a time. They were smaller projects, but they wanted to quickly turn these around, each one to last about 1 or 2 months. The issue was there was multiple people on each of these projects, and they would come to me at all times during the day, and it was hard to keep each project always fresh in my mind of what was going on. So what I did, I wrote down each project on a piece of paper or on a spreadsheet, and I would say, okay, here's the overall project, here's where we are. And I listed each person, what they just accomplished and what they were doing and when it was due. So when I got a phone call or someone stopped by, if my mind wasn't easily to switch that project, I would just pull it out, look at the sheet, and I'd say, oh, this is Joe. Joe, you were doing this. How's that going? So that way I was able to quickly get back up to speed of what that project was doing. And then when that conversation was over, I was able to go back to my sheet and go back to what I was doing.
I can see how you could easily transition that skill to our needs.
Do you hear the difference? You can do this also. You can prove that you have the skill or validate your point with the SOAR so the hiring manager will have no doubts that you do have that skill. I would love to have you subscribe to my YouTube channel so we can share tips together. Thank you for letting me be a small part.